Hey guys, I know that DBQ writing is brand new for you, so I wanted to show you a sample DBQ very quickly. So this is what ultimately your finished product will look like. It should be a 5-paragraph essay in response to the prompt that we've already gone over. You see here that this student's DBQ opens with historical context, just describing the time period, and it ends with a thesis that has 3 defensible claims. The Federalists and Democratic Republicans influenced the United States by providing the authority of the federal government and the people, setting limits on foreign affairs, and advancing the physical state of the country. Okay, so 3 defensible claims, and remember, you want to keep in mind, what are your documents going to help you support? What claims can you use these documents to help you support? Okay, so we talked about topic sentences should come directly from the thesis statement. Here you can see that this student has done that. So the first defensible claim made here is by proving the authority of the federal government and the people. Okay, so opening paragraph 1, the Federalists influenced the United States by proving the authority of the federal government. So the first defensible claim in the thesis statement is now going to be supported here in the first body paragraph. I want you guys to take a look at how the documents are cited. That's very important. So remember that the documents are used, an analysis of the documents, explaining their historical context, intended audience, purpose, point of view, analyzing them socially, politically, economically, culturally, any of those things. An analysis of the documents should be used to support that defensible claim that you're making. Okay, when you're done analyzing each document, you must cite that document. And I want you to notice how the student has cited the document here. So an analysis of the document, open parentheses, doc 1, close parentheses, period. This should be done after each document that you choose to analyze. So this student used documents 1, 5, and 4 in analyzing analyze those 3 documents in support of the first thesis statement claim. So I'm just kind of showing you guys the layout here. Setting limits on foreign affairs was the second defensible claim. Okay, so second body paragraph, the Federalists influenced the United States by limiting foreign affairs. Okay, and so the student goes on again to use documents in support of this claim. It looks like that this student also, there's document 3, there was a thorough analysis here of Washington's farewell address, and then citing the document after its discussion. And then finally, body paragraph 3 is going to support that last and third defensible claim. Don't forget outside content. You want to discuss something in your body paragraph supporting your thesis statement claims, something that's outside of the documents. And then finally, this 5th paragraph is something, it looks like they did a 5th paragraph for outside information and then a 6th paragraph for synthesis here. This student, a bit of an overachiever, included a closing paragraph, which is not a requirement. But here is there's a discussion here and a reference to today's society and the Second Amendment, discussing the arguments about the Second Amendment today and how that related or it relates to the initial discussions over the Constitution and debate over the Constitution. I wanted to show you guys a sample DBQ so that you could just look at a completed DBQ and have in your mind an idea of what your finished DBQ should look like. And one last time, a look at these documents, and let's talk about how we might analyze them. So document 1 is an excerpt from the Naturalization Act. Here's some ideas: cause and effect. Why? What caused the passage of the Naturalization Act? And then what was the effect of it? again, that's really historical context, explaining what's happening in history at the time of the passage of this. Purpose, what was the purpose of Congress when it was passed? These are proper ways to analyze the document. You could address culturally the impact, how it caused questions about constitutionality, etc. Okay, document 2. The purchase of Louisiana, historical context, what was happening in the world at this time, is a way to analyze the document. How does this fit within the debate of constitutional interpretation? How do some Democratic Republicans seem to change their position on constitutional interpretation? That's an idea that you might use. It does involve foreign nations, okay? And you might address the question, is it a breach of Washington's neutrality? There are a lot of different ways that you might analyze the document: historical context, purpose, point of view, socially, politically, economically, or culturally significant. You might even use it addressing like the visions of Hamilton and Jefferson for the nation, and how this seemed to be a means by which to fulfill that Jeffersonian view of all landowning men in the nation. There are a lot of different ways that you might use the document. Document 3, Washington's Farewell Address. Okay, this is about that fulfillment of perfect good faith, I do believe, with all nations, yes, foreign nations. So this is about neutrality, and Washington had already issued a neutrality proclamation earlier in his presidency. This is a part of his bidding adieu, saying goodbye, his farewell address, and the series of warnings that he gives the nation. This is an excerpt from that. Okay, so why? Why does Washington take this position? What's Washington's views on political parties altogether? You might go into a discussion of another section of Washington's farewell address if that helps to support one of your defensible claims. But again, analyzing the documents without quoting them, this excerpt from Washington's farewell address should be explained in support of one of your claims. Okay, and then this is the Whiskey Rebellion. This is Washington writing to Randolph, act providing for calling forth the militia to execute the laws of the Union. Okay, so you guys should know what happened with Washington and the Whiskey Rebellion, how he, under the Constitution, suppressed the rebellion of those Pennsylvania farmers. You can discuss Washington's walking out the Constitution, being this first chief executive, and establishing precedents here. Or you might address like the thoughts of men like Jefferson about the rebellion and those Pennsylvania farmers and why they opposed taxation. You just want to address the historical context, purpose, intended audience, or point of view of the excerpt without quoting it. And again, the whole purpose is to support a claim that you're making in your thesis statement. The Virginia and Kentucky resolutions here, an excerpt, and remember that this established the principle of, well, I say it established, it declared a principle of states' rights, and the idea of nullification kind of began here, and this states' rights issue doesn't go away. So you can use this document in any way that you would like in support of a defensible claim. So these are mostly Southern and Westerners who believe that the Constitution can be reviewed by states, and states can declare actions of the federal government null and void. And then you have here in document 6, Thomas Jefferson is writing to Gideon Granger. Jefferson restates his beliefs here about states' rights, and states being able to retain their power in what he thinks is like the foundation of federalism, that there's shared powers between the federal government and states. And so he expresses that here. Our country can never be harmonious and solid while so respectable a portion of its citizens support principles which go directly to a change of the federal constitution, to sink the state governments, consolidate them into one, and to monarchize, or to make a monarchy. Our country is too large to have all its affairs directed by a single government. This is something that he restates all the time about the regions being so distinct and so different, and it being best that local governments do the governing. Local governments handle the affairs of their particular constituents and their particular people. So you, in addressing like the differences, political differences between Federalists and Democratic Republicans, and how they kind of shaped establishing restrictions and restraints on the federal government, you might include an analysis here of Jefferson in this excerpt, document 6, because it does do a good deal of outlining further that Jeffersonian view that we have talked about. And this is Jefferson here in August of 1800. He's writing to someone that he's hoping to appoint to a cabinet position once he wins the presidential election of 1800. He's, of course, this is August, so the election has not transpired yet. But one of the reasons that he seeks to hold office as president, as he describes here, is to sit at the helm of the ship of this new nation and guide it in a way that's more conservative and limiting the powers of the federal government. And you guys should know, based on some of his actions, he does reduce the size and scale of the federal government. But we also know that he expanded the size of the federal government in some ways. And here we get into Jefferson's expanse of federal power. Jefferson being a Democratic Republican believing in principles of free trade. And this is Josiah Quincy criticizing the Jeffersonian policy of embargo, that ban on trade. And again, you guys should understand the historical context there, that this was, for Jefferson, his reasoning was to avoid war with Britain because of impressment and those different things. And so he urged Congress to pass that embargo. Well, here you have a criticism of someone who we would think had similar views as Jefferson to support free trade. So we get into that paradox with Jefferson and him being such a contradictory figure. Okay, but you want to be able to use at least 5 of, you have 7 documents, and you want to use at least 5. The rubric states, let's go back to the rubric very quickly before our time runs out. Analyze 5 of the documents in support of the thesis statement. Don't forget the synthesis. If you have questions, I am just a text message away. Text me through Remind or email me. Or, of course, you can always ask questions in class. All right. Get started on your DBQs. I'm excited about some really great writing.